we increased their business by 19x on a monthly basis. All right, pretty excited to talk to you guys today about this case study, which we crossed the streams, so to speak. Two of the big platforms that are out there right now, Facebook and Google, using customer acquisition amplification. This is a major deal, like how we were able to do this, because we were able to do a 19x return on the work that we created for them, not just for the entirety of the work, but 19x. We increased their monthly revenue, which I can't even figure out the math on that. There's so much, but basically they went from a small business to a mid-sized to large business within 4 months by combining Facebook and Google using customer acquisition amplification. I'm going to show you exactly how we did it here. So let's get over to the laptop and start going through the case study. So how we 19x to digital products monthly revenue in less than 12 months with Facebook and Google ads. Most of it was done within about 4 months. We're going to show that time frame here, but really for parity and for believability, like nobody believes you can do that in 4 months, but we really did it with Facebook working for about 8 months, and then we added in Google after that. And it really was an additive effect that really started to take their business to the next level. So we all did this through this customer acquisition amplification method, which I'm going to show you and teach you exactly how to do it here. So before monthly ad spend was about $32,282, monthly revenue was about $127,000 thereabouts. After a monthly ad spend was $687,000, with monthly revenue is about $2.4 million. Absolutely amazing. That's a 21x increase in ad spend, but more importantly, like nobody really cares about the ad spend. Like, how do you increase my business? Like, we increased their business by 19x on a monthly basis. Not to mention the millions that we just created in just general wealth. Pretty impressive of how this was all done. So here is the inside of the Facebook Ads Manager. You can see 32,000, and then afterwards is 687,000. And most importantly, here is the reporting results that we did here. Yeah, the ROAS was 3.4 and then 1.97. But then after we got that, we're like, hey, what's next? You know, we've gotten this point. We've pretty much just magnified their business incredibly. What do we do next? What's next up here? So we added in Google Ads. And Google Ads, as you can see back in April 2020, they weren't doing anything. So what we did is we added, and this is April of 2021, we added about $150,000 worth of ad spend, which added an incremental $318,000 per month in recurring revenue, which overall on a spend of $289,000, we increased their conversion value in their business about $700,000. So you can see revenue from April 2020. Yeah, they had a big spike in July. They had a sort of a sale that they did, and then things kind of calmed back down. But then we really ramped things up in January and really caught the wind behind us in our sales with Google and Facebook working together. And that's what's really driving their business right now. And the first 4 months of 2021 were absolutely epic, with some pretty outstanding revenue figures. And this is their Shopify revenue figures right here. So, and you can see here, like, we just blew it up. I mean, it was like there was really nothing from revenue in April of 2020, but now all of a sudden they're at 2.4 million per month. So business has obviously increased dramatically. So we went from $94,000 in gross profit per month to about 1.7 million. Which is, if you do the math, it's about an 18 or 19x increase in monthly revenue. And it's all through a business which is just selling information products on how to become a lash specialist. So this is in the beauty space, the health and beauty space. Good information, digital products, but nothing that is just absolutely crazy. It's not like they had the cure for cancer here. So they were teaching people how to legitimately do this. Good timing, obviously. Post-pandemic, people are looking for other ways in which to make money from home. So a good product nonetheless. I mean, it's not just us working together, Google and Facebook, and having all these powerful synergies and sharing audiences and doing all these great things. They had a very good offer. And I think that's an important part to it, and it's a legitimate business. It just needed sort of a boost from both of these platforms to really get them to the next level. So for us, I mean, Google and Facebook, these are, these guys are best friends. I mean, you got 80 or 90% of the internet covered here. So you can pretty much scale and grow a business if you've got a good offer and if you've got a good way in which to get your message out. You can use both of these platforms towards your advantage. So here's the real key though. Search equals intent. Social, which is Facebook, equals interruption. So search being Google equals intent. That's intent-based advertising. Social, that's interruption-based advertising. People aren't necessarily looking for your stuff when they're on Facebook or Snapchat or TikTok or any place like that. But when they're doing a Google search, they're looking for things. So you can add to that, but also the reverse is true. So social equals interruption and search equals intent. They both work together. And that's the synergy between these two platforms that we're so excited about and we continue to utilize for customer acquisition amplification. So you can actually sort of see the customer journey here. This is through a third-party platform. You can see that in this particular case, this converter started on Facebook, went through a Google ad, and then ultimately converted for a $238 conversion. So sometimes it goes from Google to Facebook, but humans are unpredictable. It's chaotic. You don't know what they're going to do. They could start with Facebook and with Google, or they could start with Google in this case and end with Facebook. So this is one where it started with a Google search, non-branded. They weren't looking for the customer specifically or the name of their business, but then they saw a bunch of Facebook ads and then ultimately converted after seeing 4 or 5 different ads. So the point is that these two platforms work really well together. And if you're not utilizing both at the same time, plus branded search, which we'll talk about here in today's presentation, you're really leaving a lot of money on the table in your business, provided that you have a good offer. These guys have a very, very good offer, and that's why all of this really worked so well. So how was it done? Well, first off, you can actually get the slides and all the things that we're going to talk about here by just putting your phone up to this. You can get all the slides, and you can obviously email me directly if you want to just work with us and just say, forget it, I don't want to do any of this myself. I'd rather have you guys do it for me. Just to take a picture of this code, and then it'll automatically send you all the slides here, as well as a download that shows you all the different parts of how customer acquisition amplification works and how you can apply it in your business. So it started way back when in 2017, 2018, thereabouts, with the e-com ad amplifier. And this was a system that we implemented in which it helps us to manage all of our campaigns, oversee all our campaigns, manage hundreds of millions of dollars worth of ad spend. And it eventually worked into the fact that, well, this worked for e-commerce, but why don't we try it for information-based businesses, digital businesses, and service-based businesses? And that's when it evolved into what's known as the ad amplifier. So the ad amplifier is now this, which is another way in which we manage campaigns and manage things, because in order for us to be able to manage $100 million a year and spend, we need some kind of system. So these systems work really well. Don't want you to concern yourself with that for right now, because in 2021, all of these became a part of something much greater than just media buying. And I'm not just talking about just adding Facebook and Google. I'm talking about adding all the different components to acquire new customers from cold traffic and to grow and scale your business. And this became what we now refer to as customer acquisition amplification, CAMP as it's known. And it has a couple of different components. all of which we applied to this particular case study. The first part is our creative lab, which we're going to get into in real detail here, but it's a 7-step process of how we use deep dive research and avatar research and turn it into unicorn ads that drive your business, scale your business, and increase profitability. And the fact is that once you find ads that work well, you want to iterate them over and over again, and that's part of the whole creative lab process. Superimposed under that, as a huge part of that, is what's referred to as the traffic harmonizer. Now, this is very similar to the ad amplifier system in the fact that, yes, there are levels of traffic. There's level 1 cold traffic. There's level 2 traffic, which is lightly engaged, with your audiences and with your cold prospects. And then there's level 3 audiences, which are view content, people that have maybe clicked to a product page but have not purchased as of yet. There's an add to cart in level 4, and then there's level 5, which are purchasers, and then you want to put together campaigns on paid media that then bring those past purchasers back so that they buy again and again and over again. The whole system is predicated upon 5 levels of traffic, a lot of which has changed now with iOS. But the point is the fact still remains the same, is that we use 5 different levels of traffic in order to acquire new customers for all of our customers inside the agency, and you can do the same thing. And obviously this is a graphic that you can download if you just email me directly, or you click on the code which I just sent you. I'll give you another opportunity to do that later on in today's program. Underneath all that is an important aspect which not a lot of agencies pursue, which is what we refer to as conversion architecture. Conversion architecture is everything after the click. As you can see, it all begins with level 2. Level 2 is not people who don't know who you are. These are people who know who you are a little bit and just need to actually convert down the path to ultimately become customers. That's why it starts with your opt-in page, your VSL, and goes all the way through to your post-purchase sequence, which you can send traffic to. Then last but not least, it is email marketing. Email marketing starts with your lead magnet, your opt-in sequence, nurture sequence, post-purchase, and abandoned cart sequence. Can't forget all those. And all of these work in harmony together in order to acquire customers from cold traffic. And that's the big thing, is that we've really 80-20 this whole thing into different components which do the best possible job to 80-20 your business as an online business and help you reach your potential. And that's what the customer acquisition amplification template does. Like I said, you can just take a picture of this code here, take a picture of that, and you can actually get the whole customer acquisition amplification system, which we're going to be going into in more detail here. So another part of this is DPI squared. DPI squared is diagnosing, prescribing, implementing, and iterating. And that's what we do for every new customer that comes on board. We don't say, all right, we're just going to give you Facebook ads. We're just going to do this because that's what you want. What we do is we go in and we look at where are the holes. Are there holes in their interruption marketing funnel? Is there holes in their intent-based marketing funnel? Do they have landing pages or maybe product pages or add to cart pages that just don't really sync? Are they missing email sequences? What we do is we diagnose what the problem is, prescribe a solution, then we implement that solution, and then we iterate it over and over again. And that's what we did here in this case study, and that's why it worked so well. So the first thing that we wanted to do is that we realized that some of their avatars weren't really resonating with the market. They needed better avatar research. They needed better audiences in which to target. So the first thing we did is we installed the Creative Lab, which I just mentioned to you before as a part of customer acquisition amplification. So let's get back to the graphic here. And this starts with deep dive research, then it goes to messaging, creative brief, creative execution, testing and reporting, data analysis, Kaizen creative, and unicorns. I think it's even better explained in this graphic, which really shows like how this process sort of is a circular, intuitive way in which we use the same data over and over again, discard the stuff that doesn't work, and use the things that really do work in order to scale and grow. And in this case, we needed to do some really deep dive research on avatars, messaging, as well as audiences, and figure out who is it that this customer can target in their cold traffic audiences in order to create the best solutions for their business. So we did our deep dive research. Then we went through some messaging and some creative parts to this whole thing through our messaging briefs, created creative briefs, which are sort of iterations of that messaging, which is then sent to the media buying team and the creative team, and as well as the customer, where we sort of go through a lot of the different ways in which we can message correctly. And then we create our actual creatives through creative execution. And then it's time to actually run cold traffic to these audiences using testing and reporting. And then we analyze the data, figure out what's working, what's not working, and then take the good stuff and reiterate it and constantly create better versions of those ads, that copy, that images, the videos, everything in a process that we call Kaizen Creative, to ultimately create advertising unicorns that really take off and help scale and grow customers. So the first thing that we did is we figured out, all right, the avatar itself. We needed to figure out a few new avatars, and they hadn't really focused on these ones all that much. First one was the avatar, which is the high school GED. They feel stuck in their career. They need a lucrative career. Their buying criteria is they need some social proof, security, and online learning, valid certification. And we also pulled out some of the testimonial quotes from some of their avatars that sort of fit this particular avatar, started using it in their marketing. The next thing we did is we realized that there are moms that are potential users of this product. This is avatar number 2 here. This is Boss Mom. And her problem was her current career is keeping her from her family. She wants to watch her children grow up, and she's making a living scheduling and prioritizing her family. Her buying criteria is she needs flexible learning schedule, proven track record of other graduates. So that was avatar number 2. We thought of about 3 or 4 others, but these are the 2 that really started to resonate with their audience. So we created new ads for them. These were the ones that were done prior to our arrival. Most of these are they're good, just images, just pictures of sort of the after state or them, their ideal avatar, or maybe who they thought was their ideal avatar. You can see the demographics are a little bit different than maybe avatar number 1. Point is that the copy and everything was really sort of stale. So we needed to inject some new levels of enthusiasm. We needed to really put into play more video content. So the video content that we really started to utilize here is far more engaging, and this is what we refer to as a pure pitch type of video. Have turn the sound off here. There's lots of components to this. There's lots of social proof. We're showing the avatar. We're showing the work that's actually being done. We're sort of proving out that this process really does work. Yes, this is a real certification program. Yes, you're going to be working hands-on with certified professionals in order to get your certificate at the end, and then obviously the call to action. So this pure pitch video, which was an outgrowth of the Creative Lab, was really powerful, and it was one of the best ads that we created inside their ad campaigns, and one of the reasons why the campaign was so successful. So the pure pitch video ad formula is fairly straightforward. You don't need a tremendous amount of post-production here, but this hook and motion to start, hey, looking for a lifestyle change, then it's join a community. I achieve financial independence. There's a 2-day program that can help you. Find that extra side hustle. So we're hitting on a lot of different parts of these things, like the side hustle hook was actually something that we found inside Creative Lab, and we used it in this video and used it quite successfully in some of our Google ads as well. And then at the end of all this pitch, it's hook, pitch, 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 pitch. Then it's call to action. Call to action is kits are running out, this sale won't last, and this one did extremely well and propelled them to that growth, that 19x growth. This was one of the most powerful ads that we used over the course of the entire 4 months, but also importantly, the 8 months prior to that. And pure pitch video is one of the best formulas that we use inside the customer acquisition amplification system. So the second thing we did here, step 2, is we deployed the traffic harmonizers. Now the traffic harmonizer is, once again, it is a part of the customer acquisition amplification system. So here it is right here. We used primarily interruption marketing using Facebook. And we also used sort of the whole shebang here. We used all of these different elements together. We started with Facebook, but then we brought in interrupted intent with some Google ads, and then we added the intent-based ads, which is Google search ads. Interrupted intent are obviously our YouTube ads, that is, and then we added the intent-based ads with Google ads, and everything really started to harmonize together. Now, the part that we use the most between interruption-based marketing and interrupted intent was sort of these two elements. So we added in, as you can see in the legend, PP is pure pitch. This is just one template that we use in a variety of templates in order to get success for our customers. So pure pitch works really, really well for interruption-based marketing as well as interrupted intent, which is primarily YouTube, as you can see from the graphic here. As you can see, before in these ads, we had only about $32,000 worth of spend back in April. And by April of 2021, we had spent the $687,000 with a really solid return, all using these pure pitch videos. The next thing we did is we did some search term research. Now we've got the Facebook ads rolling with the pure pitch, working extremely well. Now we need to bring in some search term analysis and find other search terms within the Google search framework which identify our avatar as well as identify their specific intent for this type of product. And lo and behold, we started to use a fair amount of branded and non-branded search ads, as you can see under level 1 here, with some retargeting in the display network, which is levels 2, 3, 4. Now remember, level 1 is cold traffic. They don't know who you are. Level 2 is people who have lightly engaged, maybe have viewed your image or maybe your video, but have not done anything more. Level 3 is they've maybe even viewed the product page or even the sales page, but then gone no further. And then level 4 is people who have already added to cart. So each level requires a slightly different message, even with intent-based ads, even more so with interruption-based ads. But with the intent-based ads, these started to really take off. So what we did is the first thing is we did an 111-point checklist to show, and you can obviously get these slides, which I'll give you the key to again. But we did this 111-point checklist, which went through all the different ways in which people might be searching for this particular company's search terms that they could fulfill with their product. So we looked for these search terms in our campaigns, in our search campaigns, and this is how we sort of formulated them. And the groups aligned with the avatars and the different copy angles that we had used with our Facebook ads. And then we wrote ads to answer these search terms in each group. And then last but not least, we had ad groups with ads to answer every question coming from the market. And all of those individual ads reflects the desires and pain points of the market, but reaches customers at every stage of the customer journey or of the customer acquisition path. So this is sort of the ideal campaign structure. So we borrowed a lot from Facebook, which we'll get into in just a second, but then we applied some learnings to the fact that, all right, let's do some keyword research here. Let's figure out what keywords are the most relevant keywords based upon the intent that we found within Creative Lab, as well as we're building out the traffic harmonizer. And we found that high search volume but low competition obviously is sort of the best and easiest ways to do it. Lots of Me Too generic ad copy on high competition keywords. We used their unique selling proposition to really stand out in the competitive ranking organically on search terms, but not running ads. So we did a lot of competitive research on other companies that were organically on Google but had not run advertising, and got ideas from that, which came to the next step of our keyword research, which is asking what is the market searching for using all these tools here, using Google Keyword Planner, SEMrush, as well as Answer the Public, and what's their most immediate pain point and desire. So all of these things rolled up into one, created a pretty hefty list of keyword search terms. These are not branded search terms, by the way. These are just additive to what is already being done in their interruption-based marketing campaigns. So lash technician certification, spent 13 grand, get certified eyelash extensions. A lot of these search terms were just really, really small volume, but they all added up to a tremendous amount of volume on Google. And that's the key here, is not necessarily just going for the big search terms. Go for the low competition, sometimes low volume. You want medium volume. We found a lot of high volume, low competition phrases here. Was not a hugely competitive space, which really helped us in scaling and growing. And you can see that we were really able to scale up with 122,000 as our cost. Our CPA was well within KPI, which was well below $100, which was the goal. And you can see we continue to scale up using even the branded search terms here, which is some of the branded search terms, which are just pretty much like, you know, shooting fish in a barrel on Google. Most of these come from Facebook. They get to understand who they are on Facebook, and then they go over to search on Google for the branded search terms, and you can see some of these return on ad spends are pretty insane. So branded search obviously did pretty well overall. CPA was even lower. The cost was relatively small, $229,000 from February through April, but the return on ad spend was absolutely incredibly great, which led to so much of the scaling. This is just scooping up a lot of the low-hanging fruit that was either cut by the, cut off the tree, so to speak, by the search campaigns or by the interruption-based campaigns on Facebook. So some of the ads that worked really, really well, this is one of the Google search ads. This one spent $38,000, made $88,000. The ROAS on this one was 2.1. You can see eyelash certification, very similar. And yeah, we crossed the streams. We basically took the best performers from some of our Facebook ads and we just brought them on over to Google. Like, why wouldn't you? So, I mean, it absolutely is okay to cross the streams, and you might kill the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man at the same time. I'm not really sure that's a good analogy here, but the point is here are some of our best keyword phrases or our headlines that we found in our Facebook ads. Fully accredited eyelash extension program, that was one of the best ones. We had really good variations of those inside our Facebook ads. So we just pulled out the best stuff from Facebook. The point is like if you're running things on Facebook, you can relate it back over to Google. You're just losing that traffic if you're not scooping it up unless you have incredibly great SEO, and most companies don't. So we just added these things in, search and brand. So brand is the name of the company, right? Search is the pain point or the intent or the desire that they're searching for on any given day. So both of those together produced pretty tremendous results. So the keys to retargeting, this is over on the retargeting side, still going along the lines of customer acquisition amplification, the traffic harmonizer. We captured searches from customers who are viewing Facebook ads. We protect the traffic from our competitors by bidding on our own trade name keywords, our branded keywords, display campaigns. We followed the customers around the internet. We repurposed creative from Facebook to create the ad sent, and it made a lot of sense. We used a lot of the same landing pages from Facebook and transferred that learning over to Google. So best Facebook performer, here it is right here. And all we did is we just related that over to very similar types of Google ads, kept that ad sent consistent from Facebook to Google, because that pure pitch Facebook ad was really leveraging, was really carrying a lot of weight. And it was something that we knew would work as long as we were consistent on both platforms. That would say, hey, that's something that I saw over on Facebook. Yeah, that's something that I recognize. Yes, I know I'm being retargeted in a lot of cases. Or if they're searching for new branded keywords, or they're searching for intent-based keywords, we wanted to make sure that our ads were consistent with the ones that they saw over on Facebook. So this really does shorten the learning curve. And you can see here inside Facebook and inside Google that the results were pretty darn good. These are, that's the video ads there. That's just two of them on the top there, spending about $80,000 to $90,000 with a 2.13 and a 2.46 return on ad spend. And then over on Google, same type of messaging behind it, spending $48K and making about $96K, which is obviously is about a 2x return on ad spend. The last thing we did, and this is something that we are doing right now, is we deployed conversion architecture. Conversion architecture is way down here, and opt-in VSL homepage all the way through to product page to add to cart. And that's to be determined at this point. So you've got to come back for the next iteration of this case study to see how we have been able to do even greater things with this ad account. We've already picked it up for 19x on a monthly basis. That's not in total. It might be 100, 200x overall, but 19x on a recurring basis, that's what we care about. Recurring revenue, that's what we care about most. We were able to do that with Facebook and Google together. Thank you for paying attention here in today's case study. And if you want to get the full download of customer acquisition amplification, just hit this. I want to say it's a QVC code, but I know it's not that. The QR code, which is the name of it, hit it with your phone and get that and start deploying customer acquisition amplification in your business. And of course, if you need our help, you don't want to do any of this sort of stuff on your own, my email's in the lower right-hand corner, Ralph@Tier11. Feel free to email me. I'd be happy to figure out a way to work with you, or happy to meet you and figure out a way in which we can help you scale and grow and help you unlock your online potential in the coming year. So thanks for paying attention. Talk to y'all soon.